Yeah, let me tell you something about this guy right here, son. This guy right here, the original MJ, baby, Michael Jackson. What can we say about this man that hasn't already been said throughout the annals of music time? Okay, by far, I don't think there's much of an argument, but he's one of the most successful music artists in the history of, I don't know what, sound. Like since cavemen were chiseling on
Since people could hear.
and since hearing became a thing, he's the most successful person who have existed to to engage in that sort of thing. This guy, uh, I mean, we could be here all day, right? I mean, the guy started at music at the age of six. Six. He only got 5 years of existence,
Mm.
like a normal human being, and he was only at kindergarten level. He, of course, obviously, I mean, we could do this all day, right? He was a part of the Jackson Five music group with Motown Records, with a group of him and his brothers, who were all musically talented, by the way. He just had that little something extra to him.
Something, yep.
Little something extra to him. Obviously, we all know he has not one, but two of the best-selling albums in the history of music, Off the Wall in 1979, and of course, the infamous Thriller album of 1982. He is known as not just being a huge fixture in pop music, but literally crowned the king of pop. This guy,
Pop,
this
which is
guy,
wild because pop is quite literally the number one genre.
he is
King of music.
he is the most awarded recording artist in history. It is actually recognized by the Guinness Book of Records as the most successful entertainer. Forget music. He surpassed that. Most successful entertainer of all time with over 500 million records sold worldwide. And with the Billboard 200, his Thriller song was at number one for 37 consecutive weeks. That's the longest run in the history of studio albums ever. His Bad album in 1987 produced 5 number one singles on the Billboard Hot 100. He's got 13 solo number one singles. Solo. They're not even including the group shit. Okay. The only artist with top 10 hits across 5 consecutive decades, the 70s all the way to the 2010s. He's won 13 Grammys with a record 8 in one night. This guy is ridiculously good at his job. He's one of the greatest performers of all time. One of the most famous things that you can say about Michael Jackson is the Super Bowl halftime show where he popped on stage and stood there for 2 minutes. He took 2 minutes out of his performance to just stand there as a football stadium's worth of people piss and shit themselves, and some of them needed to be carried out.
Yep. The infamous carry out at the Michael Jackson concert. Michael Jackson has to be one of the only celebrities in the world where if you buy a 20th row ticket to their concert, you could end up on the front row because people just get eliminated like the Royal Rumble, man. They go up there, they pass out, they fucking carry them all on stretchers, dude.
Now, over the years, he has become, at his peak, we just ran it all down. He's one of the most successful music artists of all time. With that success, however, has not come in the easy life. This man has been known to be a little odd from time to time. First and foremost, obviously, the one that always pops out is his changing hue over time. Right? He's slowly Sammy Sosa himself.
Well, it's Pepsi's fault, if I'm not mistaken, right? Was it Pepsi or was it Cola? I can't remember.
Pepsi was the reason his hair caught on fire. They weren't the reason his pigmentation completely failed him along the way. But no, we've had situations like he was famous for. This is a grown man who had a chimpanzee by the name of Bubbles. You remember Bubbles?
Mm.
And obviously the Pepsi commercial was a big thing. He dangled the baby in Berlin. That's another
I
conversation.
mean, haven't we all?
Well, not in Berlin. I haven't had
Not
the
in
privilege,
Berlin. Fair enough. Fair
but
enough.
I have threatened to throw my child off of
I
many
mean,
houses.
listen, I don't know if it's just a guy thing. I'm not gonna hold you, but like if you're standing on a balcony and you're holding a baby, there's an urge there. Now he got enough money where he could like feel okay to do it, but there's always an urge to just kind of like you sit there, you're like,
yeah. He's letting those intrusive thoughts
yeah, the intrusive thoughts got out.
He's got baby dangling money. He can do
It's
that
like,
sort of thing.
I'm so famous. I wonder how many people would risk their life to save this baby.
They've had a human shield at the bottom.
He was like,
yeah.
All day. I saw about 5 of them jump. I saw 5 of them jump. I saw them move.
You're describing like a Family Guy joke. He's like,
it feels like
no, I'm just joking. I'm going to put him down now. If we sat here, we could sit here and sing the man's praises until the cows come home. But if we did that, if all that we focused on were all of the positives, then what would be the point of making a movie, right? What would be the point of that? In a movie,
he's got some gnarly negatives, though.
You have. I was just gonna say, you have in a movie, you have highs, and then you have some lows. Like, for instance, the 1993 allegations of child sex abuse that took place in the early 90s, which led to one of the greatest television interviews of all time when Oprah Winfrey went down to Neverland Ranch to sit down with Michael Jackson as Michael Jackson lets her into his home, a gated community, by the way, shows her the circus and the amusements and the pets and the zoo animals and the popcorn machine. As a kid watching this, I'm like, yo, his house is amazing. This is fire. Great. And then they sit down and she looks at Michael and goes, do you like touching boys? It's like, wait a minute. I was just such a gracious host. And you come in here in my home.
I bring you into my home, and this is how you repay me.
Yeah,
only Oprah could get away with some shit like that, though. Only
Oprah. You think Mike got money? Oh, she's swinging too over there. She's swinging.
I think she might be kind of broke compared to him,
but there was no indictment on that charge, by the way, due to the lack of evidence. No kidding. And then in 2005, they ran it back, a criminal trial for child molestation, but Jackson, once again, was acquitted on all charges. Public scrutiny over appearance changes, plastic surgeries. I always have trouble with this word. What is that? Vitiligo diagnosis? The skin-changing disease there? But, so there's a lot of... That's what people tend to lean more towards now. They tend to... Despite the allegations literally... never leading to anything, the court of public opinion always seems to win in the end, and there always happens to be some discourse. There's a younger generation of people now who don't see Michael as the artist. They see him as the child guy, and that's kind of how they foresee him and his character, which, in my opinion, I think might have been what led to this upcoming film, a biopic on Michael Jackson's life. And this is another indication as to how famous this man really and truly was. Apparently, this movie, I keep saying it's coming out soon. It came out last week, the 24th. The movie's called Michael. That's it. That's all that it's called. It didn't say Michael Jackson.
Nope.
It didn't say King of Pop. Just Michael. Because other than Jordan, is there a more famous Michael? I don't even think Jordan is as famous as Jackson, but he does come up. He's up there. He's in the ranks, but he's sitting at the big boy table, but he's not the head of the table. When it comes to Michaels in this world, there's only one.
Isn't it crazy? Michael, Jackson, Jordan, both peak of what they do, and their initials were MJ.
Yeah.
Both of them. What are the odds?
Which was not a fact that was beyond some people at that time. Mm-hmm. Because I remember distinctly having a conversation with a teacher in the early 90s where I was like, yeah, I'm going to go watch MJ. Like, Jackson? Oh. No, Jordan. It was like, oh, okay. There was confusion there. I was like, no, I'm going to watch Jordan. What you talking? It's the 92 finals. I'm about to watch him play the Portland Trailblazers and hit 6 threes like in a row and fuck that whole building up with his energy. Hit him with the he hit Magic Johnson with the, I don't know. Just feeling it tonight. What can I say?
I'm hot right now.
Yeah, I'm hot right now, son. I love when people, Michael, not to sidetrack with Michael Jordan, but he couldn't shoot threes. Like, he didn't want to shoot threes. He literally did an interview years ago, like in the 80s, where he was like, I don't want to shoot threes. That's not my game. That's crazy. Who would sit there and just chuck up threes all game? That's weird.
I can guarantee points.
I want to get as close to the basket as humanly possible. What are you talking about? With my speed, agility, size, accuracy, hands, wingspan, why am I shooting threes? That would be ridiculous. So anyway, there's some ups and downs with this man. The upcoming movie, obviously, and this is another key thing too, right? Jafar Jackson is Michael's nephew.
Yep.
So it wasn't like they went out and found an actor to try to get as close to Michael as they could. They kept it in house.
Not only did they were deliberate too. I thought I was watching. He was on Jimmy. Jimmy Kimmel, and he pretty much was like, "Oh, I saw that a guy I like. He did the other really good one, Queen. Apparently,
yeah, Remy.
He was like, "Oh, that guy's awesome. He's gonna do my uncle's movie next." You know, his phone rings. He's like, "Yeah, we kind of need you to do this. Do you know how to act?" He's like, "No." He's like, don't worry about it. We're gonna go get you. we're gonna do some shit. So they knew who they wanted. They were like, "Oh, the boy looks like him. We can definitely make him look more like him. He's a Jackson.
It's in there.
I mean,
it's in there.
It's gonna happen. I mean, even if we have to hit the guy, it'll come out of him. We just got to get it out of him.
Got to sing it.
There it is. He said the guy said he had no interest in doing acting, singing. He actually wanted to play golf, but it's just so crazy that like even in the interview he has this natural presence of like, wow, like this guy's gonna be good. And then they showed a clip of one of the scenes in the movie, and I'm like, I mean, if you've seen Michael, you could tell it's not Michael. But that boy, good, man. That boy was good. I was like, damn, man, he's hitting that shit too. He looked good, man. I didn't know anything about this kid, and he's gonna do all right. He's gonna do all right.
Now, we brought up
let's keep that Jackson management away from him, though.
Oh Jesus, yeah, and those doctors.
We want the guy to get paid. So
yeah, let's keep those doctors away from him too. We talked about the resume. We talked about some of the quirkiness about Michael Jackson. We even brought up the allegations that were brought against him. We've had every nook and cranny, but there's one conversation we haven't talked about, and that's the combination of the two. So while there is a lot of goodwill coming out from people who want to support the film, who are huge Michael Jackson fans and want nothing more than for this movie to just be as successful as humanly possible, there is one controversial conversation taking place about the film, and that's that people are having a little bit of an issue about the fact that the movie kind of stays away from the allegations. As a matter of fact, there's a report going around that about $15 million in reshoots were done to ensure that there were no talk in the film regarding the allegations, regarding the court cases. It kind of stayed away from it. So there's a lot of people discussing, well, it kind of seems like you're running from it. My thing is this. The allegations have been there for a while, but there was 2 actual court cases. So this was litigated on 2 separate occasions. And in both situations, One of it was dismissed outright because despite the allegation, they couldn't prove it. And the second one provided information, but it wasn't enough to convict. They didn't feel he did anything wrong. He was acquitted on both times. So if you're the Jackson family and you're kind of putting this biopic together, right? You've got the nephew in there playing the character. The family is being very hands-on with how the movie is depicting their brother. It makes sense to me not to bring up the allegations because that's all they really are allegations. If there was a court case where he was convicted of something, if there was evidence brought to light that says, yes, Michael Jackson did this, I think it would be within their responsibility.
I think they'd be obligated to do it.
Yeah, they would be obligated at that point.
Because in that manner, you're trying to erase reality.
Right, exactly. Now you're trying to change a completely different narrative when the narrative with the movie that they're spinning is we're talking about his life, we're talking about his successes, we're talking about his achievements. That's kind of where we want to leave it. We want to remind the audience of how amazing he was as an artist. Bringing up the court cases, I feel would be something that would be necessary if the court cases went somewhere. There were just allegations and they were disproven in court. There really doesn't benefit or behoove the family at all to even bring them the fuck up.
And I hesitate to say this because I didn't look too deep into it. I just know my wife was talking to me about it. But she made some type of suggestion with this whole Epstein stuff that's going on that leans towards the fact that he didn't do it. And if anything, there's suspicion that like he was kind of taken out. I don't want to get into the conspiracy shit. I know people will kill me for saying the word conspiracy.
Tinfoil hats.
All of this is supposed to be like facts.
It's hearsay, but I've heard it too.
I'm staying away from it. But my point is, if you listen to it at all, like you just said, you kind of heard it, that there's actually something pointing into the direction that he didn't do it. And if anything, they were trying to.
He was trying to protect the kids.
They were trying to throw dirt on his name to. If he were to say anything, it was to combat the things that they were saying about him, which is why these things were kind of like so for even that even if that was an idea that people are having like could be true, or even if it is true, to me that's even more of a reason. Outside, first of all, what you said is more than enough. He wasn't convicted, so I don't think we should keep driving this home. It's been years. He's gone now. Still, no one has done it. Like, I mean, for God's sake, Cosby was in jail or is in jail, wherever the fuck he is right now.
He got convicted. R. Kelly got convicted. There's been numerous individuals.
Diddy's in jail, bro.
Diddy's in jail. Everyone got it.
Michael would have been. And this is my theory about him. I don't think anything happened. I don't think anything. Is it weird? Yes. Are you a grown ass man? Do I doubt that they slept with him in the bed? 100%. Like, sure, it probably happened, and it's impossible. Even I am skeptical about it. And I know it's impossible to live in a world where you think random kids are sleeping in a bed with a grown ass man and it's not weird. But like, I don't know. And to the point, it wasn't convicted. I don't see any reason to talk about it. Not at all. Trust me, the internet is going to do that for me. If I'm making the movie, I don't need to put that in this movie. They're going to point it out. I don't need to double down on that. Let them do that. Let the people combat and conversate and argue about that if they want. We're just going to tell the facts. We're going to show you what he did. We're going to show you what monster he was. And we're even going to do it with his family member.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That? Well, and when you say monster, you mean a monster of an artist. He was a good monster. He was a beast. He was Sully from Monsters Inc. You know what I'm saying?
I was about to say Monsters Inc. Oh, that's a Pixar movie. No, that's a Disney movie. Oh, we're gonna talk about that in a second too.
Yeah, we're gonna hit on that. We're gonna hit on that in just a second. So, I was a huge fan of his music. I will end this segment by bringing up one last piece of Michael Jackson history. I don't know if you recall because of your age at the time.
Yeah, his run. I was like right outside of that frame of me being like,
yeah, because you were 4 in
starstruck
1992.
over him. Yeah. So but I know of him. I know his legacy. I know it's
Yeah,
dope. It's just not one of those things that like
yeah.
hit me. So yeah, I
So
got
like,
you.
even like for instance, when we brought up the album '79 for Off the Wall, neither one of us were born. Thriller in '82, neither one of us were born. But the hits kept on coming after that. We didn't really jump on board until like the early '90s because that's I'm 10, you're like 5. But even then, the early '90s, he's killing it. Remember the Time, Black and White. I mean, he's just going off. He's balling, going all the way into the mid. Listen, to this day, I still associate Jam with Michael Jordan in the NBA and all that other stuff. Because I think that was the music video. I believe if I'm not mistaken, the music video was Michael Jordan in the Jam video. So it was we got our MJ, our MJ connection at some point. But at that time, in the schoolyard, there was 2 clans. By the way, a war that still continues to this day, despite both of these individuals no longer being with us. But we would be remiss if we were going to bring up Michael Jackson and not talk really quickly about the war between the fans. The 2 individuals were in that war. But the war between, you were either a Michael Jackson guy or you were a Prince guy. You were one or the other. And both sides had an equal amount of males and females. Both sides had an extreme love and passion for the guy that they represented. And man, when I tell you there used to be arguments like crazy, you just gonna tell me Purple Rain is just nothing. Purple Rain is just nothing. I mean, Purple Rain is great. It's no thriller. It's like, oh, okay, all right, okay, all right. You support a guy with Athens chaps. You support a guy who literally changed tits. I don't know. No, it's not happening. Back and forth. And
It didn't help that publicly, I believe, like, I don't know how much Michael, but Prince was pretty
out there.
He was pretty, if I'm not mistaken, pretty open about his dislike for Michael. So, I mean,
yeah.
They had smoke.
They had their issues for sure. There were times where they were on the same page, times where they weren't. I'm sure musically they were kind of rivals because they were kind of both at the forefront of a movement. However, I do know for a fact, because I found out later in years from interviews from both individuals, that they did bond later in life over one very similar goal. They figured out the music industry together. Because these 2 individuals, if you go to YouTube right now, folks, and you start looking at interviews from Michael Jackson and Prince later in life, when they start breaking down the music industry and putting you guys on game, what happens, how this whole thing goes down, what the points look like, what the actual money in the industry looks like, who gets what, who's getting screwed. They were telling all. Michael Jackson bought the Beatles to save the Beatles. He was using his wealth and his fortune to try to save as much of the music industry as he could. He was buying up everything because he was starting to understand the way that music companies run their business. That's why the music
Unfortunately, I don't think that part's in the movie either.
No, I don't think so either. But me and Steph were watching something just the other day. Well, she was on her phone. I was watching it. But one of the documentaries one of many documentaries that I watch is this series on HBO Max where it just goes by the decades, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, 90s, yada, yada, yada. And one of the 2000s episode was about MP3s and how music had changed from a physical format to a digital format, and how there were a lot of music companies that were up in arms because it's like, damn it, the physical copy is where we make our money. This is where we make our sales. This is how we chart our albums. This is our algorithm. This is what we use to make money. And then Napster came along, changed the whole game, and started moving around MP3s. We all know what happened to Napster, but then we all know what happened to the copycats with the LimeWires and all the different utensil programs that we would use to give our computers AIDS and destroy ourselves. But music companies eventually figured out that this isn't going anywhere. So how can we harness this? And the music company's final form right now is Spotify, because they're Snoop Dogg. right now is, and Snoop Dogg and Taylor Swift in specifically are like in battle with Spotify, because right along when the music artists started picking up speed and gaining knowledge of how this business really works, the music companies tried to get ahead of them. And now instead of focusing on full albums,
as they always do.
Yeah, they used to make money off of full albums. Now they're making more money off of the singles than the actual albums.
They basically bust down the whole album.
Right, basically.
Every
They feared the internet and the MP3, and now they have completely not only embraced it, they've mastered it. Now they have made it to where the middleman is almost impossible to ignore. For a little while there, it seemed like record companies were going to become obsolete with YouTube and SoundCloud and artists now having their own ability to kind of promote themselves and channel themselves into their own music, their own way. It seemed for a short while there like there was going to be this renaissance of just free music. And Michael Jackson and Prince and artists like that at the time were at the forefront of that movement of trying to get artists to be like, think for yourself, do for yourself, because these companies are going to take most of that. You're writing every song, you're singing every song, you're on every bus, you're on every plane, and the record company is doing everything from that one office, and they're getting more money than you. We have by a long shot. And like so
50% plus more,
right?
Way more.
Exactly. Like who I forgot who it was. I think it was Prince that said this. I'm not entirely sure. Somebody had said this that Michael Jackson sold over 500 million albums, and still only remained a millionaire. How does that happen? So it's like that's the kind of stuff. So I know people are gonna feel neither here nor there about the man. Me and myself, still a fan to this day. I could listen to any one of those songs. I could put a Jackson 5 song on. I could put an early Michael Jackson song on in 2026, and it still slaps. When I told my family that this was one of the topics that we were going to talk about, without even thinking about it, without even going into it, my son, who's 11, was on his iPad and he started humming freaking Beat It. He started humming. It's fucking infectious. He knows that song because his school, who has dance classes, they've done Michael Jackson stuff. And that's one of the kids. This lady did a whole thing on Michael Jackson just for them to kind of get exposed to the music. And everybody walked away with their favorites. He walked away with Beat It. That was his Beat It. Solid pick. Solid pick. It also helps that that's the one choreography I still remember to this day. So that also helps. So I'm looking forward to seeing the movie. I actually genuinely want, if it's literally just the career stuff and the achievement stuff, I think I'm going to get a kick out of this movie. So I can't wait to see it myself. I don't really need to see the allegation stuff because, like I said, bullshit.